Stop complaining, start commanding. Stoic discipline for unshakable control. Stoic bloom. What if every complaint you speak is actually a signal to your brain that you're losing control? What if the real reason you're stuck isn't your partner or your circumstances, but your addiction to voicing problems instead of solving them? And what if Stoicism offers a mental blueprint to flip your mindset from constant reaction to composed, unshakable action? Today, we explore why the Stoics believe that complaining is more than just noise. It's a slow erosion of personal power, and how breaking the habit can rebuild your emotional core from the inside out. Part 1. Complaining weakens you more than you realize. At first glance, complaining feels harmless. It feels justified, even therapeutic. You've had a tough day. Things didn't go as planned. You just need to let it out, right? But here's the uncomfortable truth the Stoics knew. Complaining is not release, it's rehearsal. Every time you complain, you rehearse weakness. You reaffirm that life is happening to you, not through you. Marcus Aurelius didn't say, complain and feel better. He wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Each complaint trains your mind to surrender control. It strengthens your identity as the victim, not the commander. And the longer you dwell there, the more powerless you feel, even in situations you could change. The Stoic sees hardship. He feels pressure. He gets frustrated, but he channels that energy inward. Instead of shouting, why me? He asks, what now? Because complaining doesn't make you stronger. It makes you more sensitive to discomfort and less able to deal with it. Like a muscle unused, your resilience withers. This isn't about suppressing emotion. It's about retraining your attention away from what's wrong toward what's within reach. You don't ignore pain, you transform it, not through noise, but through intentional action. Let's be honest. If complaining burned calories, we'd all be shredded philosophers by now. But real power isn't built on venting. It's built on discipline. Subscribe to Stoic Bloom because we don't just stop whining, we start winning. One Stoic decision at a time. Drop a comment below. What's one complaint you're ready to silence today? Share this video with someone who needs a quiet reminder that their peace is one mindset shift away. Part 2, complaining is surrendering control. The moment you complain, you're not just voicing discomfort. You're signaling to your mind, I am no longer in charge. To the Stoic, this is the most dangerous confession a man can make, because once you give up control in thought, you give it up in action. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Think about it. You don't complain about things you're actively changing. You only complain about things you've chosen, consciously or unconsciously, to accept passively. That subtle distinction is everything. Let's say your coworker gets under your skin. You vent about them to anyone who'll listen. But do you have a conversation? Do you set boundaries? Do you change your expectations? Usually, no. Complaining feels like motion, but it's actually mental paralysis dressed as productivity. It tricks your mind into thinking you're doing something when you're just looping the problem. And here's where it gets dangerous. The more you complain, the more powerless you feel. The more powerless you feel, the more you complain. It's a spiral. And Stoicism is the rope that pulls you out. The Stoic doesn't wait for external things to improve before he finds peace. He builds the muscle of control internally, starting with the silence between emotion and expression. So the next time you feel a complaint rising, pause. Ask, is this a cue to speak or a cue to act? Because one leads to freedom, the other to frustration disguised as speech. Part 3. Complaining infects others with negativity. Complaining isn't just a private release. It's a public leak. And whether you realize it or not, your words shape the emotional weather around you. Every time you complain out loud, you're not just offloading tension. You're planting seeds of frustration, helplessness, and pessimism in those around you. And negativity? It spreads faster than truth. One side turns into a chorus. One cynical remark pulls the whole room down. The Stoics knew this well. That's why they practiced emotional responsibility, not just for their own clarity, but to preserve the mental order of those they influenced. Seneca once said, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve." Complaining violates both. It neither improves you nor uplifts them. Now imagine a leader who constantly complains. How does the team feel? Unstable, uncertain, drained. Complaining corrodes trust because it signals that emotion is in charge, not principle. The Stoic, however, leads differently. He faces difficulty head-on, but keeps his words clean. He chooses restraint over release, not because he's suppressing, but because he's strategizing. Because sometimes your silence is more supportive than your venting, and your presence, calm, grounded, controlled, becomes a kind of medicine. So the next time you feel the urge to vent, remember, you're not just expressing, you're influencing. And the world has enough noise. Be the one who brings stillness. If you've ever walked away from a conversation feeling heavier than when you entered, chances are someone unloaded without asking, and it stuck. Subscribe to Stoic Bloom if you want to be the one who cleans the air, not pollutes it. Like this video if you've ever held back a complaint and felt stronger because of it. Share it with someone who doesn't realize how powerful their energy really is. And hey, if you're going to spread something, let it be clarity, not chaos. Part 4. Complaining destroys your reputation. You may think your complaints are private, just honest thoughts spoken in frustration. But make no mistake, people are always watching. And your words shape your reputation more than your resume ever will. The Stoics taught that character is not declared, it's revealed. And one of the quickest ways to reveal weak character is through habitual complaining. Why? Because complaining signals a lack of discipline, a lack of perspective, a lack of emotional control. When you complain, you're telling the world, I am ruled by external events. I haven't built the internal tools to handle them. Even if it's subconscious, people notice. Your colleagues start seeing you as unreliable under pressure. Your friends begin to feel emotionally taxed by your presence. Your influence fades, not because you lack intelligence, but because you lack composure. Marcus Aurelius never said, "Prove your worth." He simply lived it. His daily writings and meditations were never meant for applause. They were exercises in self-governance. Because to a Stoic, the highest form of leadership isn't control over others. It's control over self. Now ask yourself this. When you speak, do others feel steadier or more scattered? If your words constantly pull energy out of the room, you might not need a louder voice. You might need a quieter mind. Complaining may win sympathy, but it loses respect. And the Stoic doesn't chase pity, he earns presence. So the next time you feel like venting, ask yourself, is this who I want to be remembered as? Because what you say today becomes someone's memory tomorrow. Part 5. Observe, interrupt, and transform the habit. Complaining is a habit, not a character flaw, which means it's not permanent, just practiced. And the good news? You can reverse it if you have a system. Not a motivational quote, not a slap on the wrist. A Stoic system, one rooted in observation, interruption, and transformation. Step 1, observe without judging. Before you can change the behavior, you need to catch it as it arises, not after the 5th sentence. Right at the spark, that sigh, that sarcastic remark, that rising urge to just vent a little. Name it internally, this is a complaint forming. The Stoics didn't avoid self-awareness. They sharpened it, because awareness is the gatekeeper of change. Step 2. Interrupt the spiral. Once you see it, pause. Breathe. Remind yourself, complaining changes nothing. Action or acceptance are my only tools. This brief interruption is where the transformation begins. Step 3. Transform that energy. You've interrupted the complaint. Now do something with the energy. Turn it into a question. What can I control right now? Turn it into a boundary. How can I prevent this from repeating? Or turn it into Stoic acceptance. This is outside my control. I release it. The more you do this, the more natural it becomes. Not just to stop complaining, but to think like a Stoic in real time. And here's the quiet victory. You'll start feeling calmer. People will respond to you differently. Not because life got easier, but because your responses got stronger. If you've made it this far, let's make this practical. No lectures, no affirmations, just a challenge. Catch your next complaint before it escapes your lips. Replace it with either action or acceptance. Then come back and subscribe to Stoic Bloom, because we're not here to vent our lives away. We're here to reclaim them. Comment below, what's one trigger you're committed to transforming, not with noise, but with mastery? Because the Stoic doesn't react out of habit, he responds out of training. Final reflection. Complaining is easy. That's why everyone does it. But Stoicism isn't about doing what's easy. It's about doing what's necessary, especially when it's hard. Across this video, we've examined how complaining erodes your strength, surrenders your control, and infects your environment. We've shown you how to interrupt that pattern and transform it into power. But this isn't about perfection. It's about awareness. It's about becoming the kind of person who, even in frustration, chooses clarity over chaos. You're not just dropping a habit, you're reclaiming your mental sovereignty. You're stepping away from noise and into quiet command. The Stoic doesn't complain about the world. He prepares himself to face it calmly, courageously, and consistently. And if you apply even one insight from today's message, catch one complaint, choose one better response, you're already living that philosophy. If this video sparks something in you, a memory of how often you've spoken from frustration, a realization that silence can be stronger than speech, then don't let it end here. Subscribe to Stoic Bloom, not just to follow, but to train your perspective in a world that rewards reaction. We're building a movement, quietly, not of louder voices, but of sharper minds, of men and women who choose to think before they speak, to master themselves before trying to change others. Hit the like button if you've ever felt the pull to complain, then chose stillness instead. Share this video with a friend, a brother, a father, someone who deserves the gift of inner peace over outer noise. Leave a comment below. What's the complaint you're done repeating? We read every word. We grow with you, and together we're creating a culture of strength, not sorrow. Discipline, not drama. Realism, not resentment. Let this be a reminder. You don't rise by being louder. You rise by being wiser. Stoic Bloom. Less noise, more nerve.